I'm Catherine Mazzone here with MojoStreaming, and I'm very proud to introduce our guest today, Vanessa Amoroso with Four Paws. She is a lover of animals and specifically the work that Four Paws does saving big cats around the world. Vanessa, thanks so much for being with us today.
Thank you.
First, let's talk a little bit about Four Paws. What does it do, and what do you attribute that lasting success to?
Well, Four Paws was founded in 1988 by our founder, Helly Dungler, who unfortunately isn't with us anymore. But the tagline is animal welfare worldwide. And that's us. We're an animal welfare international charity, and we work to reveal animal welfare issues. We rescue animals in need, and then we work on long-term sustainable solutions for protection. So we protect them after. So it's a really holistic model. But it is for animals, right? It works for animals.
That's what I was going to comment on, actually. That sounds like it's probably a big piece of your success, is because you're not doing one thing. You're trying to approach it from all sides. What have you known to be one of the greater challenges in these days when it comes to meeting your mission?
Yeah, that's a really big question, and
I know.
Yeah, thanks. We are established, and we are a charity, so everything we do, we couldn't do it without the supporters and the kind donations that they give to us. Everything we do is via them. But the challenges are, an ever increasing and differentiating world. Nobody knew we would be facing a pandemic 2 years ago that would last 2 years, and climate change and crisis and cost of living. So all of these wider, human issues trickle down and affect what we try and do day to day. Like, in the pandemic, we couldn't travel, and we therefore couldn't rescue the animals that needed rescuing, or it was much, much harder. Yeah, so we're always kind of rolling with the punches, I guess.
There's so many things taking people's attention away from causes, like what's really important, because you do have to worry about the day-to-day, and keeping those causes in mind can be tough. How do you stay relevant, and how do you stay engaged with people?
I mean, we are the people, we just are lucky enough to work for the animals. We feel those same struggles. Our mission is to help animals, and hopefully see a world one day where they're treated with like empathy, respect, and understanding. That's what we aim, that's what we strive for. But yeah, we definitely feel it every day.
Yeah, well, I'm sure. And again, you're fortunate to be able to do something that you love, and be involved in that. Tell me, what are some of the things that you're most proud of with the organization that y'all have done?
I think like what's really cool is, we've rescued over 270 animals. That's a lot of animals, and a lot of them, they're big cats, they're bears, all kinds. And it's not just like we rescue them, but we also are able to place them in true sanctuaries, like our sanctuaries. Not all the time, but most of the time. And that gives them a species appropriate care for the rest of their lives. And often these animals have been rescued from really deplorable conditions, some of the worst you could ever imagine. So I'm actually really proud about that.
How are you able to make those connections with folks when necessary to make those rescues?
Yeah, well, I mean, we do have 15 offices around the world, and it's ever growing, so that is good. We have a good reach. And what I love about that is that, I get to work with people from all over the world. There's like many cultures, and everything's quite celebrated as well, which is cool. In terms of getting the work done, we work in a digital age, so we have offices, but then a lot of us work from home, and we have to travel, so that's a big part of the work that we do.
Do people just, you're recognized now, you're established, do people call your organization to say? Yeah, wow.
All the time.
And all over the world, I'm guessing.
Yeah, Yeah, and the good thing is like we've built a massive network. So if we aren't able to help in one instance, we are always able to refer to somebody who might be able to help, perhaps like a local partner. We always have a network of local partners in each country mostly. So yeah, we're well connected, and we always will do as much as we can.
In working with those local partners, I'm sure that you've seen a lot of sad things, or that they've communicated a lot of sad things about the environments there. You said you also look towards the future and you try to make changes at a higher level. How does that come into play?
Yeah. I mean, sometimes like rescuing is for the immediate help of the animal, but often in case it's, there's a bigger problem that's behind it. So, that's the immediate thing. And then a part of the work as a campaigner especially is, okay, well, how do we fix the long-term problem, right? What are the solutions to that? And often it's policy change, law changes, and then proper enforcement of those laws. Yeah, but I mean, being exposed to stuff that is hard. Like I had a day yesterday when I was exposed to some of the worst stuff I've ever seen, or not even seen, but I read. And I thought I had a strong stomach and a strong constitution, but this one really rocked me a little bit to my core. And those days, are few and far between, but yeah, it just means that you're doing the right thing. Like people come to you for help, and hopefully you're able to do something.
It's been 2 years, right? And you've always wanted to do this. What kind of, can you feel the impact? I know it's got to be discouraging, like you said, some days, but in the end, you feel like you're making a difference?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as a campaigner, you know that you're in it for the long haul. It's amazing if you get a quick win, and that's obviously going to be celebrated. But usually, especially with law changes, policy changes, you really have to, first of all, like gather the evidence, present the evidence. Sometimes people dispute the evidence, and it's a whole process. And then even when you get to where you need to be, then it's about enforcement. Or it might take a couple of years to come into force, and in the meantime, you always have like the opposition doing exactly the same, perhaps maybe with more funding, often case, they have more money, and feeding a different narrative. So it's like, coming from all sides, plus you have to be, really genuine what you want to present.
Have you found any causes recently that you're really passionate about as far as policy that you're hoping to educate folks about?
Yeah, I mean, it's a big piece of the work that we're doing now in South Africa is concentrating on the commercial trade of big cats. So a couple of years ago, practically 2 years ago, the Environment Ministry said, right, well, we're going to shut down the lion industry because, of course, it's legal in South Africa. And it's taken 2 years, and we haven't really shut it down at all. And in the meantime, what we've done with our evidence is to showcase it's not just lions in these, facilities that are being commercially traded and exploited. It's also tigers, and there is a number of leopards and jaguars as well, which jaguars and tigers are not endemic to South Africa. They're completely non-native. So they're breeding them, and it's a whole cycle of cub petting, walking with the juveniles and the sub-adults. Then when they get a bit too big, they use for can hunting, or they're put straight back into the breeding cycle, intensive breeding cycle. And then you've got your trophy hunting. And then what people don't realize, which is what we've been trying to raise awareness of, is that sometimes these animals are worth more dead than alive, because their bones are then shipped over to Southeast Asia, for tiger bone wine and other products like that. So yeah, it's a bit of a mess.
Is that, I'm guessing that's prevalent in other places as well, but
yes,
I don't know how you even approach something like that.
Right, I know, and I can talk to you about the policy a little bit more. So like in South Africa, they have a legal lion bone quota, right? So, and lions don't have the same protections as tigers per se, because, you know, they're Appendix 2, they're a native species, and they're not exactly endangered, right? Not yet anyway. I'm sure we'll probably see a day when they will be in the wild. So there's already a legal kind of industry of lion bones being exported from South Africa, who are the biggest exporter in the world. And then you also have the same facilities breeding tigers. And you're thinking, well, why are they doing that? And it's for the exact same reason they ship the tigers, which in this case is completely illegal, because they are CITES Appendix 1 listed, right? But when tigers are captive bred, they're treated as an Appendix 2 animal.
Wait,
what? Major loophole. Yeah.
So when they're bred, then they're automatically not endangered or threatened or anything.
When they're bred in captivity, the legislation is that if you breed a tiger in captivity, you have to register the facility so that CITES know exactly how many animals are being imported and exported and moved around, etc. But there are 0 registered facilities in South Africa. Therefore, it's all illegal, and it's all for commercial trade. So this is our campaign, and we've been trying to raise awareness politically, saying that you're breaking the rules, guys. Like, you know, we need to do something here. You've said that you want to close the lion industry. We implore you to shut down the big cat industry, because there's all this evidence that there's tigers, lions, jaguars, leopards. It's not just lions. And these animals are supposed to be having more protection than lions. So hello. And then the other side of things is raising awareness for tourists who will go to these facilities, because, you know, they market themselves as zoos, as predator parks. Come and see the cubs. You know, you take a selfie with a cub, it's a lifetime, you know, thing for you. But unfortunately, that cub then stays there its whole lifetime. And you think, oh, but I'm helping conservation. This animal is going to be released back into the wild one day. And unfortunately, that's just so far from the truth.
It's so tragically deceptive.
Yes.
I'm still not quite understanding how the jaguars and the leopards and tigers don't have this same protections. I guess this is something you kind of have to understand these policies for everywhere. What else should we be looking out for?
South Africa is the biggest exporter, but the model is practically everywhere. So wherever you see cubs, especially, being offered for petting experiences for tourists, you know, often for not much money, you should automatically know that animal's been almost ripped away from its mother too early. We'll probably never see its mother again, and the mother's gone back into breeding, and it's a really intensive breeding cycle. So yeah, we see the same things happening in Europe, but luckily we had a big breakthrough, especially for tigers in Europe this year. So an EU tiger guidance was released, which Four Paws helped to kind of with the wording and like what actually goes into it, which basically stops the commercial trade of tigers in and out of Europe. And it was luckily tabled by the Czech Republic and Slovakia member states. And then so we're hopefully going to see more member states adopt the guidance now that it's been issued, and hopefully see a decline in the trade, and then hopefully more like grandfathering clauses, which is, you know, if you already have, strangely, a tiger as a pet, some people do, that then you're now bound by law to not trade it, not breed it, and just give it the best care you can for the rest of its life. And of course, if that's not possible, then an organization like Four Paws might step in and help rescue the animal or place the animal somewhere else. But yeah, that's going to be a big challenge for sure.
That's awesome, though. I mean, that sounds like a lot of progress already.
Yes, but that's just for tigers. So, you know, the next step for us is to extend that to all big cats. And yeah, that's conversations with each country separately.
Yeah. How does Four Paws, or does Four Paws, have any plans on how to deal with the thousands of lions from South Africa's canned hunting practices that's being shut down? And you kind of touched on that What more can you tell us?
Yeah, so I mean, what I will say is that the canned hunting facilities are often the same, or the other facade of the cub petting facilities as well.
No.
It kind of goes hand in hand. Yeah. Yeah, of course, like these animals are killed, but they've been held by tourist animal lovers since a very young age. So of course they have no fear of humans.
So they have no fear of
No,
humans.
no, they don't.
So they
Yeah,
can be
it's
hunted a
tragic.
lot easier.
Yeah. And often in very enclosed things, and they're not afraid, and then they just get shot, or use a what they called, little
Crossbow.
crossbow. That's it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I think there's about an approximate number of 12,000 lions in South Africa alone in captive facilities. So that's a lot of lions. And we've already rescued some, but of course we would never be able to rescue all. So we do have plans that we are presenting to the government shortly. I'll give you a little snippet, but of course it's top secret for now. But yes, it's helping. So right now, the government are doing a voluntary transition for facilities that want to leave the industry, right? But I think not a lot of facilities have come forward because, of course, they're making money and they're like, well, why? So yeah, the plan is to help encourage them to leave the industry and maybe diversify into something else, and just become a sanctuary for animals rather than a place for killing animals and exploiting them. But yeah, that's plans that we hope to release later in the year. I think it's only a percentage of those that are open to the public. A lot of it happens on private land where, of course, nobody knows. And it's very in tight circles, and I guess you get all sorts of people from bigger hunting organizations that have packages where they get the big five or something like that. Yeah, it's kind of unfathomable to me. I will never understand. But I do hope for a day when this isn't the case.
Yeah. What else haven't I asked you? I mean, I know there's a lot to say, but what else haven't I asked you about Four Paws?
I think one of the reasons why I like Four Paws so much is there's real heart in the organization. And there's something for everyone. If you like cats and dogs, then we have cat and dog programs. We try and end the illegal puppy trade. We're trying to end cat and dog meat markets in Southeast Asia. We also work on farm animals, so looking to end the intensive farming, and then live transport, that kind of thing. And then when wildlife's concerned, it's like what I do with the commercial big cat trade, trying to end that, ending the fur trade, looking at animals in entertainment, so like ending circuses, because believe it or not, there are still many circuses with performing wild animals around the world. And where you think it might be coming to a close in Europe, things are popping up elsewhere in the world, right? So then we have to shift our efforts. And those countries have little to no animal welfare protection measures. So it's like starting from scratch.
Do you have offices in those places where there's less of a presence for animal welfare?
Yeah, I mean, we are growing our presence in Southeast Asia for sure. I think a lot of the things that we see hotspots are coming from the Middle East. So maybe that's some place that we'll look to in the future. I certainly would like to, but that's probably like one of the hardest markets to penetrate.
So how can people get involved or contribute?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, one of the easiest things to do is sign all of our petitions, please. Like, you can go to our webpage, fourpaws.org, and there's hopefully like a whole page of actions that you can take, just a couple of clicks, and then that will help us definitely, especially when we take those signatures to lobby the governments who need to make the changes. So that's one of the easiest things to do. Secondly, as I said, we are a charity, so we can't do what we do without donations from kind people and supporters and animal lovers. So that's another thing. And yeah, like keep an eye on our social media. pages, because sometimes we do in-person actions. So, you know, what often the case where we have an office in a country, we'll do actions in the street. So you can always pop by and give your support that way as well.
Awesome. Perfect. Well, thank you so much, Vanessa. I really appreciate the time you spent with us. And I really hope to, when you have something else going on, something big, please let us know. We'd love to draw more attention to it.
For sure. Thank you so much.